We are doing it again, Exiles. Poised as the most anticipated patch of Path of Exile 2 so far, already 1 whole year into early access, 0.4, the last of the Druids, is confirmed to bring the Druid class numerous new skills and a substantial update to endgame. Aside from those elements, nothing is confirmed, but much is speculated to be included in this approaching PoE 2 patch, and of course, as the developers at Grinding Gear Games are always eager for constructive feedback, I figured I'd reach out to a sizable swath of creators to gather what they think PoE 2 needs right now. I also posed this question to the Talkative Tri community. Their answers to it will be interspersed throughout this video. We're about to begin with Darth Microtransactions thoughts, but remember, take a moment to hit like, write a comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn the bell notifications on. This helps tremendously and lets me know to continue crafting content just like this. Okay? Off to DM.
Pretty simple answer for 0.4. I very much hope that the quantity of time of preparing the map is reduced. Currently, you have to get a map, juice it up, add the delirious modifiers on. Don't forget, you gotta add the vertebrae, go watch the guy, hop into the thing, and take a little jacuzzi real quick. Pick one of the 3 things, take it back, grab the tablets, insert the tablets with the map on the spot that you want to do. It's just quite a bit of setup. So for me personally, 0.4, since it is in-game focused, I really hope that they are looking at ways to make the actual setting up and preparing of the maps a little bit more streamlined.
Now let's hear some thoughts from the creator of Filter Blade, the loot filter you probably use in Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2.
I think some of the most enticing and coolest thing to do in ARPGs is take down interesting bosses and get a really cool and interesting loot and uniques from them. Unfortunately, this is something where PoE 2 is coming quite a bit short. The interesting bosses like Kulemark, Xesht, Olros, the Arbiter, most of these are not very challenging. They don't drop very interesting and usable uniques. In general, I think in PoE 2, uniques need to go an extra step and become a lot more better, because right now, while the crafting game is becoming better and better, uniques overall are not very interesting and not very enticing. I would like to see that improved a lot.
And now, some words from my friend Dreamcore.
Path of Exile 2's 0.4 update must include the Trial of the Ancestors, introduced as the 3rd Ascension Trial. And of course, it was meant to be there in patch 0.3, but it wasn't. They didn't have time for it, so it has to be there in 0.4. And one of the things that this mechanic could include and introduce to Path of Exile 2 is tattoos, something that could spice up the passive tree.
As usual, Dreamcore is right on the money with that analysis. Now we're shifting over to the Diablo 2 vet, Off Meta Michael.
Hey guys, Off Meta Michael here. I think GGG needs to focus on keeping the game readable and clean. Get rid of the ground effects, a lot of them. Replace it with interesting ways to kill us with monster attacks. Also, the speed of characters using attacks or movement speed is so outrageously high compared to some other builds. It feels like you shouldn't play anything else. Everyone played Deadeye. Nobody wants to be left behind. Speed is king all the time. So figure out what the top end of speed is, bring it down, keep the game readable and clean.
I do think that's what I want most. More visual clarity. Now you might notice compared to the last video for 0.2, I'm yapping a lot less in between the people and their feedback. Let me know in the comments below, do you like just seeing the rapid succession of everybody giving what they think Path of Exile 2 needs? Or do you prefer a little bit of extra input from me? I am reading everything. Okay, Miso, take it away.
What Path of Exile 2 needs in patch 0.4 is very simple. A change to how rarity works on gear. Whether it be completely removing it from gear or making it so that rarity does not affect currency drops, we just need a huge overhaul to how rarity interacts with the way that we play the game, because I am completely sick and tired of having to make characters and putting 150% rarity on every single character before I can worry about anything else, because it is an absolute night and day difference between a character with 150% rarity and one that even has only 100 rarity or less than that. Let's not even talk about 0 rarity, right? We need to either do 150% positive rarity or go negative rarity. Anybody without rarity is just losing out completely, and I am sick and tired of that, and I want to see that change.
I just knew someone would bring up rarity. All right, we had the first bit of input from the Talkative Tri community. Sir Edward V says the number one thing Path of Exile 2 needs right now is performance fixes. Dude is 100% right. Whether it's for PC, PS5, Xbox, end game, middle game, even sometimes in the early game, we need better performance for this game. My PC is a beast and it goes off to the races every time I open any map. And even if I'm using a build with some semblance of clear, I hear the fans just start whirring like no tomorrow. Are you guys ready for an AWU? Turn your volume down. It's Jazzarus time.
The number one thing that the game needs, in my opinion, is something that can come naturally as they develop more the game, but it needs the correct approach to reach the level that we need it to be in, which is end game content. Because it is not only quantity of content, but it is also the way they approach the content. What do I mean? Right now, the Atlas 3 in Path of Exile 2 sucks. And you could say they are going to rework all of these things for 0.4, or that is what we think. Well, then this is the moment to talk about it, so they take this feedback into consideration for 0.4. The Atlas 3 in Path of Exile 1 is vastly superior to Path of Exile 2. In Path of Exile 2, your Waystone and your tablets matter much more than your Atlas 3, and you don't feel that you have this control over the activities that you can do like you have in Path of Exile 1. I am not even talking about the amount of activities, because I know that the content will come naturally. I am talking how you approach the content. I want to be able to focus on the activities that I want, like you can do in the Atlas 3 in PoE 1. Also, GGG, please delete the well. I don't want to be clicking on the well, dude.
Yeah. All right, my man Ghazzy, what does 0.4 need? I swear if he makes a joke about my wife again.
Talkative Tri recently asked me what kind of changes do I think PoE 2 needs for 0.4, and my personal opinion is very simple and straightforward. I think that one of the major changes is obviously taking aside the topic of character balance and whatnot. I mean, so we don't have yet another Deadeye League, is actually more about inflation and the rampant devaluation of Exalt. I think that having a proper Divine Orb sync is very, very much needed in Path of Exile 2. I think that the inflation right now and the fact that the Divine Orbs are only a carry trade power is a major issue, especially for casual players. This has been an ongoing topic for a long time in the community, and my opinion is that generating some sort of sync for Divine Orbs would be a solution. In PoE 1, we have the solution of Divine Orb sync through a benchcraft mechanic through the form of metacraft, which doesn't exist in PoE 2. Instead, we have omens, which are completely player controlled, whether or not the prices on those are going to be for Divine Orbs or more. And I think that's a big issue, and that's my personal take on what PoE 2 needs for 0.4 outside of character balance.
I love Ghazzy looking out for the casual player like me. Now let's listen to my Mobalytics bro, Lolcohol.
Okay, try.
Okay, Lolcohol.
I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible, but doing this in 30 seconds is like impossible.
That's all right, man. It's quick enough for me.
But all right, here goes. So what I think we need in 0.4 is a redistribution of power.
Yeah.
More power from supports.
Okay.
The passive tree, the ascendancy.
I'll stop now.
Create a more deterministic progression for characters that is less reliant on weapons, especially, and items, which is reliant on luck of drops and using the most overpowered skills. I'd also like a rebalance of many of the skills and uniques in the game. And then for the end game, a way to theory craft Atlas strategies and then execute on them and then iterate on them. Probably means a reworked Atlas tree as well. And then the last thing is aspirational endgame content to give you a reason to push your character to those top levels. Currently, I feel like
this guy's lasting way longer than 30 seconds.
I mean, on a lot of skills, you're really just steamrolling a lot of stuff. So have those like tier 17 map type things that really push your character and give you that incentive to go all the way and min-max your character. That's it. That was a minute. Sorry. I tried my best. Cut what you need. Try. But there you go.
Thanks, Lolcohol. We're going from one yapper to another. Take it away, Palsteron.
If there was one thing I'd like to change, it would be layouts and how they do layouts in general. When they recently removed rare icons, it was fascinating to see Because we had the same thing in PoE 1. In Affliction, they had a subclass, like a sub-ascendancy, that gave you rare icons on the minimap, and people liked it, but when it got removed next patch, nobody cared. So why is that not the same in PoE 2 when they did it recently and they removed it? I think it's because the rare icons are not about the loot or anything. Obviously, rare monsters have the most loot, almost all the loot in your map, on top of mechanics. But they also show you how the map is, like, how you can traverse the map. Because if you put the mini-map in the middle of your map, you see exactly where the rares are aligned. You kind of know how it looks. And now we're kind of back in the fog of war again, so to say. And there's good examples of how they do layouts. For example, Augury, which people used to hate in Season 1, but has now become into one of the more structured maps. And you kind of know, okay, there's going to be a stone here, stone there, and the boss is always in the middle. And there's a few RNG layers, but not that much on top. And if they can do that with most maps, then I think that's a win-win for everybody. On top of that, if they want to have huge, epic outdoor layouts, they should maybe put in some landmarks where it's like, oh, this is on this side, so I'll probably have to go to the boss here. Like, just stuff that's like knowledge-based. If you've done the map 5 to 10 times, you kind of know what's going on. And even though this has gotten better, I would love for them to do like a complete pass over all of the layouts. I know they've reduce the size of some of them, but I would like for them to just streamline it in general.
Solid takes as usual from Pal. We're going back to the Talkative Tri community now. We have someone saying, Zubai 4, fix the left side of the skill tree. That's what we want. That's what we need. Well, luckily for this guy and everybody who commented in support, we're getting the Druid with this patch. So that means at least the left side, the top left, is going to see some love. I can't promise that the rest of the left side isn't going to see love. I would love to see some of the drawbacks taken away on the existing two-handed weapon skills, some of the other warrior or mace focused passive skills on the tree. I just really hope that Druid comes in decently balanced and it gives some more power to the left-hand side of the tree and opens up a ton of new build possibilities. And who knows, maybe the people high on copium, in my opinion, are right. And we're getting the Templar as well. All the power to the left side of the tree. This next guy probably spun a wheel to give his piece of feedback to Grinding Gear Games.
Hey guys, so there are only 4 things I can really think of that I want in PoE 2 right now, and they're things that I actually expect I will get. So, number 1 would be new weapons and skills, ideally swords. I'm really excited for swords. I can't believe we're almost a year into release and there are no swords in Path of Exile 2. That's insane. Secondly would be ascendancy classes. I mean, those come with new classes, so I think we'll be getting that. Third would be more exciting uniques. Now, I know we'll be getting new uniques. I just hope that they are exciting. And then the last thing, which is like such a small thing, but it's important to me, is can we get more uncut skill gem drops during the campaign again? I don't know what happened, but they seem to have disappeared for me.
Okay, I guess he spun the wheel 4 separate times. Now on to one of the mods of the Talkative Tri community, Omegasybers.
To answer the video's question, I think the most necessary addition to PoE 2 in 0.4 would be skills to round out existing archetypes, like cold and lightning attacks for maces, or a movement skill option for crossbows.
Thank you for following my directions to the... Look at that. Someone following my directions to a T. Let's go. All right, looks like we got another serial yapper here. It's time for Farham.
Hello, everybody. It's me, the guy in the hat. That guy, if you will. Tri has once again asked for my humble opinion on what I think is needed going into 0.4, other than, of course, the Druid, which we know we need. Now, I think 0.3 made some great strides in making the Atlas a lot better. Towers being gone, yay, woo! However, with one hand they gave, and on the other hand they took away. Why did the tier 4 bosses go? Why do bosses now have 14 million health instead of 32 million? Why was the new boss that was added in with just like basically a tier of health that has like 2 million health? We need some top end challenges, like for these fantastic builds that we can now make. Otherwise, everyone's just going to keep speccing into movement speed. Like, you need the balance. You need that top end back.
This next one is special. We have a guest appearance from Lighty. No, not Ben. The better Lighty. Sorry, Ben.
Hey guys, Matt Lighty here, and my buddy Talkative Tri asked me what I thought was missing from Path of Exile 2. Now, I know you're looking at Path of Exile 1's launch screen, but I think it's pretty appropriate because what I think is most wrong and erroneous with the Path of Exile franchise is the microtransactions. Now you see on screen there is one on the login screen for sale, a sale sign. I think that's just not going to cut it. I mean, PoE 2 is going to cost a lot of money. We're talking billions, trillions of dollars, decades of dedication and work.
Oh no.
So we're going to have to up this to, I think, something more like this to fully represent and get that real estate in advertising, really crank that microtransaction, you know, because only with this amount of funds can we complete and perfect Path of Exile 2.
I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that. Back to the Talkative Tri community with an actual constructive piece of feedback for grinding your game, something we've been waiting for a long time. Bruno L. Figurito says, controller mouse hybrid, allowing us to change easily between both inside the game. Now this was supposed to come in 0.2, then again in 0.3. It was pushed both times. I'm hoping we get this in 0.4. It would be an amazing quality of life. I might even start to use controller for mapping just to give it a go. And then when I want to do inventory management, just hopping on over to my keyboard right here on my PC and see how that feels. Lots of people say it's ridiculously smooth. What's that? I'm getting word that we have a tourism expert about to give his best advice to grinding your games for this upcoming patch. Give it to us straight, Cal. No crashing out.
Hey Trey, so I think the most important thing that has to be fixed going into 0.4 is performance and optimization. I think if you were to poll a lot of community members, the main reason they quit was because of crashes. Once they started experimenting with new builds on their second or third characters, they just started running into so many crashes and just like huge lag in maps with Abyss and Delirium. And even in the early weeks, you know, you're seeing streamers with some of the better end PCs, their computers were just constantly shutting off due to just big crashes and spikes. That is going to be a huge problem in 0.4 if that repeats. I think the longevity of this league has been pretty good, and it would have been so much better without these performance issues. So above all else, I think just they need to really work on the optimization of this game. We cannot have it be so crash heavy.
Solid, and I think quite similar to this guy.
When I hit endgame in Path of Exile 2, things changed. My frames dropped, my game started crashing, and my performance, well, let's just say things weren't working like they used to. But then my doctor told me about Perform Max 0.4, the only patch designed to improve optimization and performance in all the right places for your endgame. With Perform Max 0.4, you'll be able to go deep into those abyssal overrun maps without crashing. And yes, it works with breaches as well. So take Perform Max in patch 0.4, because your campaign isn't the only thing that deserves to be optimized. Side effects may include less sleep, stable frame rates, reduced stuttering, and becoming violently aroused by the word shader cache improvements.
And the award for highest quality submission goes to BlazeworksTV. All right, time for a new face on the channel. Let's hear from Lexd.
Hey, Tri, before I get started, I just wanted to thank you for including me on this compilation. It's a genuine pleasure.
Oh, don't mention it.
So this first one is a popular one, and for good reason in my opinion, but if GGG is dead set on having distilled emotions from Delirium stuff be one of the best ways to juice up endgame maps, then they've got to do something about the visuals and the OST, because ironically, seeing the same grayscale and hearing the same music every map is actually driving me insane. I think honestly for some solutions they could choose to maybe play some kind of animation at the start of a distilled map. Maybe see all the fog kind of appear, then like absorb into the ground, and then the map just looks as it should, save for the fractured mirrors that those Delirium monsters spawn from. Or, and I hope GGG hears this because I think it's the more realistic option that I thought of, maybe have the fog appear in patches across the map where those fractured mirrors are that those monsters come from, and when you kill those groups of Delirium monsters, the fog dissipates, and obviously the rest of the map just looks normal as it should, but those patches of fog appear, you know, more frequent enough to let you know that is a delirious map, in my opinion.
Every word in total agreement there. Delirium fog, I think it needs to go. Returning to the Talkative Tri community, we have DJ XD3 Monix. I'd absolutely adore a Templar-shaped present under the tree this year. You're cooked. It's not happening, man. We all know Diablo 4 needs to drop the Paladin into their game, and then grinding your games needs to boop, one-up them. KingKongor, play the content creators out.
So something I really want to see them change in Path of Exile 2 is something I wanted to change already since 0.1. The very first time that I've done it. A lot of people do eventually get to this kind of endgame where you really start juicing it to the absolute max. So you're mapping and you're going to now start adding delirium to your maps. How do you do this? And now imagine that you have a full stash of inventory, because look how many maps I actually have right here. We have a lot of maps and I have basically prepared most of them. But how do you do that? Let me show you a couple maps real quick. Click, 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 click. Now imagine doing this for a couple hundred maps. So please, in an endgame patch 0.4, this has to be made easier. Our wrists are starting to hurt. My fingers are starting to hurt. Please fix this.
Even as someone that doesn't juice, please simplify this process a little bit or reduce the number of clicks. Now it's time for the final inclusion of the Talkative Tri community here on this video. Canduel Games 9850 says, PoE 2 player playing endgame PoE for the first time, and I finally see that the Atlas tree in PoE 2 needs a ton of work. The dude is correct. Whether you've played Path of Exile 1 or not, it does not matter. You gotta understand that the base Path of Exile 2 Atlas tree just isn't interesting or fun. Like MisoxShiru has said in the past, you could delete the entire base tree from my game and I wouldn't notice that it's gone. I think it needs some radical changes. I've proposed in the past allowing the Atlas tree to actually terraform your Atlas, changing the terrain types, the maps that you're encountering, the frequency of citadels appearing, random roaming bosses across the Atlas. Really lean into the exploration vibe and allow the Atlas tree to edit that experience, as opposed to the boring stuff it tries to accomplish right now. We know there's an endgame rework or revamp coming in 0.4, The Last of the Druids. I hope the Atlas tree is among the things touched. There we have it. We are 12 days away from 0.4 being revealed. Massive thanks to all the creators who decided to be a part of this big collab, and every member of the community that left a comment and contributed to all those other pieces from the Talkative Tri community. I truly appreciate it. And thank you for watching the video. Make sure, if you want to see more of these in the future, like the video, share it with your friends, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel with the sub notification bell on. I will see you in the next one or in one of these podcasts on screen right now. Thanks for watching. Stay sane and have fun. That's my bear noise.